Hi, welcome to another episode with I'm Food Venturist. Today we have a very special guest. She's not only a guest, she's also a very good friend of ours, Ms. Sunita from Red Consulting. So, ma'am, welcome to our show. Thank you so much for agreeing to be part of this show. So, I've been well known to what Red Consulting is doing, and I think most of the people in the F&B space know what Red Consulting does for them. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and what Red Consulting does, ma'am?
Yeah, sure. Great to be on your show, Mohammed.
Thank you
for inviting me, and thank you for making me part of your community. And we have also grown together.
Absolutely.
So it makes me very proud and happy to be here.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
In the PR business, it is actually, your temperament matters a lot.
Okay.
So I would like to give credit to Miss Sharon Apparao of Apparao Galleries.
Okay.
So this was way back in the 90s, where she said, you're a people's person, and this is where you should be.
Absolutely.
So there was no formal introduction to PR. Everything happened along the way, and I think I sort of clung on to this belief that I'm a people's person, and that should be
and everything else clicked together.
It all fell into place because I started off. I'm a English literature graduate from Stella Maris. Then I got married, had 2 children, and then I said, okay, now what am I going to do? So then when this conversation happened, so then I think it sort of clicked, it's a little trigger saying, okay, this is the space that I should be in. But I didn't really plan too many things, but it all just fell in place, and I'm so happy that...
Taking that particular conversation a little bit forward, ma'am, I mean, we have been associated with each other since the Chennai Food Guide days. So where we used to bring food bloggers to restaurants, and we used to coordinate and do the needful. But nonetheless, apart from that, so many of my other ventures and everything, somehow I didn't connect. I do understand that you're a very people's person, but somehow I didn't connect with you as a commercial entity. Right? There is so much of things that you actually have helped me personally in terms of what we have done, and the generosity of you actually has flown through. And I always think that Sunita ji is a little bit above the commercial grade, and she's much more connects to people in a very so actually when you said about the introduction, I was able to actually see the flow through. I somehow never ever associated yourself in terms of the commercial numbers or whatever. And it is, like you very rightly said, it is a people's business. F&B is very much the people to business, because like we always say, it is made by people and served to people, and I'm sure that the same thing holds good for you in terms of making it happen. But what inspired you to bring the name called Red Consulting, because that is really standing out?
Actually, it just happened by coincidence. I was a freelancer, and I had to come up with a name for billing purpose, and I just thought red was a very vibrant color. And this was pre-GST days, so forming a company was not so challenging. So that's what happened. And then after that, funnily enough, I have an uncle who's an astrologer, and he said, oh my God, red suits you so well.
Oh, wow.
I just picked it because I had to put a name on an invoice. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's great. So you were telling about that, before you started this particular career of yours, you had some lineup towards people and this one. So how did you start this particular career? Was it just something that just happened naturally, or you will actually, after your graduation, you did decide to do some work in this particular expertise and field?
No, I think the evolution happened on its own and gradually. But the trigger was working at Apparao Galleries with Sharon Apparao, who's a fantastic teacher. And I learned very quickly, I should say. And so I started by doing PR for the gallery, exclusively. I learned that, that was really my forte.
Okay.
Connecting with people, putting things together, seeing it through, and also my background with, English literature helped me put all the material together, all the press kits together, all the brochures together. So, that's an interaction with the media.
Okay.
So, I had to constantly keep in touch and talk to them and do all that. So I think it's sort of just like pieces of a puzzle. It just fell in place.
God's grace, everything came in sequence, and it just came,
yes.
like you rightly said, evolved into something that is.
And then it just evolved from there. So at any point, if anybody asks me what is your projection for the next 5 years, I will not be able to answer that question, because everything just happens.
Absolutely. Ma'am, now for many of us, when we talk about PR, different people have different perspective of what PR is. So from a business perspective of view, what actually is the PR exercise that people do? When you say PR, we know it's public relation, but what exactly does it constitute to, and how does it help business, ma'am? One question at a time. So first, can you just explain to us what PR actually is?
Okay. PR actually is a connect between the product and the service and the brand towards your end customer.
Okay.
So it is like a bridge. Okay. It is a form of advertising, but it all has to be subtle, and it has to appeal to your emotions.
Okay.
It has to touch you in a certain way.
Okay.
So this is a very softer approach to an aggressive, in your face advertising campaign. Okay. So that is what PR is. And PR keeps evolving.
Okay.
It is something that you have to take one particular case at a time.
Okay.
For example, a product or an event, and then see what is the universe that you're going to create around it. How are you going to publicize it and actually get it to reach the target audience? So there is a lot of creativity that goes into it. Some parts of it are standard and mandatory, but there will be a lot of variables. So you have to be able to think on your feet and deal with the variables, and also come up with the variables. How are you going to do this differently so that it is not a standard, cookie cutter proposition? So that is what PR is all about. It is about you understanding the brand, understanding what the client wants, understanding what the end customer wants, and bridging that gap.
Absolutely. And how does it help in businesses today, ma'am? I'm being an industry agnostic. So a requirement from a hospital can be different. A requirement from a restaurant can be different. A requirement from maybe a manufacturing company can be different. So how does these PR activities help the business in the greater sense? I mean, is it just towards connecting, or is it like towards brand building? How does it work, ma'am?
PR is a very, very integral part of marketing. In fact, I think as the years go, every year we see a greater demand for PR and a greater demand for various kinds of PR. So the brands or the clients are not limiting themselves to a certain genre of PR. It is for us as PR consultants to come up with various strategies to be able to, meet that demand. So that is what it is, and it is very essential. It can, like you said, it can be a hospital, it can be an educational institution, it can be a lifestyle product, it can be a health product, it can be a restaurant, it can be a food brand, but everybody needs a certain degree of PR. It is great when the client themselves are PR savvy, because then they bring in that other element that we need.
Personal touch, you mean? Personal
touch, because they are adding that, to our XY, they are adding the Z. So then that makes our job much easier, and it helps us connect with the client's audience.
Absolutely. And it is not one of a time exercise. It is something that you have to keep repeatedly doing as you keep progressing in your path of the business.
Yes. So we have to constantly ideate, constantly find opportunities to get PR mileage.
Okay.
When we say PR mileage, it's not like this, creature that is pouncing on you. It is actually very subtle nuances which we use as mediums to reach the target audience.
Fantastic. And ma'am, when you say that, that you've been here, earlier days when we used to know about PR, either it could be print or radio or television. This is the only thing that is gone. Now with the advent of digital, there are so many other channels that has opened up. Not only in terms of just, influencers and social media and whatnot,
yes,
but so many other venues have developed. How is Chennai as a market for the need for the PR to reach across the mass? Because either people see things in mobile these days, or at the maximum they do this one. So how do you see the change that is happening, say maybe 15-20 years ago to what it is today, ma'am?
15-20 years ago is a very, very long time.
Very long time ago.
Yeah. So what we saw pre-pandemic and what we saw post-pandemic is totally different.
Okay.
Things changed overnight, and even before that, people were consuming a lot of social media content and all that. But it became very, very critical post-pandemic because that was the only medium that was available, So, and it keeps changing, The thing is, what worked for a certain product launch 6 months ago, we have to tweak it a bit. We cannot repeat the same thing thinking it worked, and so this will also work.
Absolutely.
So you have to have your feet on the ground, and
and not only the feet on the ground, the ear also on the ground.
Ear also on the ground, everything, and then know what the pulse is.
Okay.
And then take it forward.
Okay.
So it changes a lot quickly.
Okay.
So to answer your question, in Chennai also there is a lot of changes, the way people want to do things. So when we say how it is changing in Chennai, rather than have a very mass appeal kind of a publicity platform, people are going in for smaller, concentrated, targeted kind of PR. So which means the audience size is shrinking. I'm not talking about all brands. I'm talking about the trend that
the niche ones.
Yeah, the niche ones. The audience size is shrinking, but the right content is reaching them.
Okay.
So that is a trend that we've seen in Chennai, where they are like, we want to reach the right 300 people. It doesn't have to be the 3,000 or the 30,000. My product requires the attention of the right 300 people.
Absolutely.
So let us see how we can achieve that goal.
Because earlier, ma'am, like what you rightly saying, it is always spray and pray, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you used to print the ad and hope that all your supposed TG will actually see it, and then finally the conversion happens.
Yes.
Now, is this because the advent of digital, which is able to give a very specific target focus for you to reach across, you're able to reach the right niche and therefore being much more effective in conversion?
Yes, see, the print medium is still very strong.
Okay.
It is not something that we can, say it's not as effective as before. It still works, and it still comes with a lot of credibility.
Okay.
Okay. The stuff that you see online, okay, there is a lot. And you have to break the clutter.
Okay.
And opinions change, and sometimes you have to keep abreast of the opinions that are changing.
Absolutely.
Print still comes with that validation that this is solid gold.
Okay.
So print will always be
there.
King.
Fantastic, ma'am. And with what you do in Red Consulting, can you just explain to us what are the different services that you offer as a PR company?
Okay. So, Red Consulting, we call ourselves PR consultants and marketing consultants, because both go hand in hand. Our core offering has always been media relations.
Okay.
Our core offering has been media relations, where we talk about print media, television, radio, online. So that is like something that we started with, and we are very, very passionate about that.
Okay.
We do event management. We do advertising, which is media buying. We do influencer management. And we do content writing. And so that is a gamut of things that we put together. A very, very niche service is guest listing. So guest listing is the new way forward, where I was telling you, you want to connect with your small core group of influential people who don't want to be out there. They don't want publicity. They want to be entertained one-on-one. So that is something else that over the years, past let's say 4-5 years, that is a trend that has become very attractive to the luxury segment. It can be retail, it can be fine jewelry, it can be a health product,
lifestyle, all businesses towards lifestyle and such.
So these people, they only want to connect with the right audience and have a one-to-one conversation. So we facilitate that. It could be a real estate company. So, we facilitate that.
Most of our content in our podcast has been towards understanding the past, the present, and possibly the future. So when it comes to cost of, now you're I think, like you said, you're giving a gambit of services across, right? So now, how is the, cost for advertisement and marketing and PR compared to 15 years ago towards now? Has it risen across along with the inflation, and, is it still maintaining an industry standard, or has it become much more expensive now? And how is it working on in terms of ROI for businesses?